All right, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. We're doubled up today. 2 sweatshirts, 2 KLX 300s. We're gonna bring you everything you need to know about the 2024 KLX 300. All right, so we've been riding these bikes all day. We started out on the dirt version, the standard KLX 300, and then later in the day we jumped onto the SM, which is the Supermoto, purpose-built Supermoto version. We're gonna break you into some facts so you can learn everything there is to know about the KLX 300. All right, so for a few years the KLX went away, and then in 2018 it was reintroduced to the Kawasaki lineup as with fuel injection, and then in 2020 it got boosted to a 300 from a 250. So now in 2023, the bike gets all new styling. While it's not an all new generation, it gets a lot of updates that make the bike newer, look better, handle better, and bring it up to date with the rest of the Kawasaki lineup. Okay, so the standard KLX 300 retails for $61.99. It weighs in at 302 pounds, has a seat height of 35.2 inches, has a 2-gallon fuel tank, and is offered in 3 different colors. This lime green, a gray, and a camo version. It's got a fuel-injected 292cc engine, dual radiators, and new for 2024 are comfortable new ergonomics, new KX-inspired styling, a new LED headlight, and a new taillight. These new styling changes really update the look and feel of the KLX and bring it up to par with maybe something like the KX 450, the KX 250, and the other off-road models in the lineup. For the Supermoto or the SM version, you're also gonna get the same new ergonomic changes, the new styling, the new LED light, and the new taillight. But what really sets this bike apart are the 17-inch front and rear wheels and the Supermoto tuned long travel suspension. So with the Supermoto version, you're gonna lose 1 inch of travel and also have stiffer settings to hold up for the street. You're also gonna get a larger front disc and a larger rear disc to really accommodate the Supermoto style of riding. All right, so what's it like to ride the KLX 300? It's been a couple years since I've ridden one of these bikes, and I'm always impressed every time I ride it. This customer that rides this kind of bike is gonna have a blast on this thing. You're not gonna overreach your boundaries on this bike. You might find the limit of it, but you're gonna have fun even for an intermediate rider or above. This bike is a blast to ride. The motor is super easy. It's a great bike to learn on. It's almost impossible to stall from the bottom of the RPMs. As you work your way up, the clutch engages really easily. It carries its momentum through the rev range, and it actually has a nice top or mid to top range, because once you kind of get into that feel, you're going up and uphill and you really give it some juice, it actually has a good mid to top range that kind of pulls surprisingly well. It's no motocross bike. It's also not the KLX 300R, which is like more of the off-road specific bike. This is gonna be the dual sport version, but it's a lot of fun to ride. The suspension is probably what I was most impressed by. We actually found a little makeshift motocross track on our ride today, and we were jumping in on some tabletops, and I expected it to just, drop out of the sky, just clunk and blow through the whole stroke, but it actually worked really well and had a lot of hold up, a lot of good cushion. I remember in a test we did a few years ago against the Honda 300, the Kawasaki won based on its suspension alone. And the suspension again on this version is super good. I remember one of the reasons why it lost to the Honda was the styling. So you look at it now and it looks like a Kawasaki KX version. It's got the sharp front fender. It's got a more consolidated front headlight with a high and low beam LEDs, which look and work really good. Another thing about the new styling is I'm 6'1", and my knees on these new shrouds lock in perfectly to the area where it's kind of the new cutout. So it's really comfortable to ride on. It gives you a planted feel on the bike, like you're really locked in and in control. And to ride for a few hours today on the street and in the dirt, it's a really comfortable ride with the cushioned seat, kind of that standard comfy cushion dual sport seat. It's a really good ride, nice solid ergonomics. I think a lot of people are gonna be able to jump on this bike and feel comfortable right from the get-go. Also with the standard KLX, you're gonna have a 21-inch front wheel and an 18-inch rear wheel, which is pretty much on par with any other standard motocross or off-road version. So I think that feeling, while it is a little bit lower to the ground and has a little bit less ground clearance, it still has that same stance like a standard motocross bike or off-road bike that you're comfortable and used to riding. You get a nice digital dash, cable clutch, all the standard things you'd expect on a dual sport bike. A few complaints I have, right, it can't all be rainbows and sunshine. I'd love to put some aftermarket foot pegs on this bike. I'd love for them to come standard. These things look like they're from the 80s. Just for riders who have bigger feet, it's gonna be more comfortable. Also, you do get a nice digital dash, but I wish it had a gear indicator or a fuel gauge just to kind of see, you know, where we're at on timing and fuel and maybe what gear I'm in. It does have a neutral light, which is nice, but I'd like to know as I'm riding kind of what gear I'm in. Small complaints, but just a couple. Moving on to the Supermoto version, I've never actually ridden a purpose-built Supermoto bike. Anytime I've ridden a dirt bike on the street, it's been a dual sport or something that I probably should have been riding on the street. So to have two 17-inch wheels with the street tires and the big discs to be able to ride on the street just made it so fun. You have that same styling, the same comfortable ergonomics where you can really lock in the knees to the shrouds. And the way it rides, it also, you drop 3 teeth in the rear sprocket, so you're gonna have a lot more of that top end power. It's gonna have a higher top end speed. I actually felt that the bike felt faster, obviously, but from that, you know, 6,000 to 9,000 RPM range, really came alive and didn't feel like a sluggish KLX. It felt like a fun, you know, adult-sized pit bike that you could really rip through the canyons and be a really fun commuter to have, or also take to the kart track or set up some cones in a, you know, in an empty parking lot on the weekends. The big discs really help the braking power, and overall just a really fun bike to ride. I think some people look at the KLX and maybe thought, you know, maybe discounted it, but now with the new styling, it really looks sharp. You could pull up anywhere on this bike and really be taken seriously. It looks good, it rides good, and it's just overall a blast to ride. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I hope that covers everything you needed to know about the new 2024 KLX 300. You're gonna have a standard version and a Supermoto version. I hope to see you guys out there on the track or on the trails with one of these things. Until then, check out Cycle News Magazine. You can find 50 free issues of Cycle News at cyclenews.com. Sign up your emails. It'll be delivered to your inbox for free every week, 50 times a year. Until then, guys, we'll catch you out on the track.